Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United show where lots of good news is coming in. Some big stories, some big boosts. One of them is that Mason Mount is set to be involved in the squad tomorrow, and that has come from The Athletic, probably the best source of information out there in terms of credibility. But other information has come out about a striker that Man United are looking at, more reports linking us to this player, someone maybe on the cheap, someone realistic, someone that I would be surprised if the media made up this name. Manchester United looking at Scavani, Cooper Mines, a couple of players from Atalanta. Manchester United ready to sell Sancho on a 35 million deal and believe that Dortmund will pay that. Well, that would be brilliant. And a lot more news talking about the Liverpool game, talking about some funny story about how badly Man United's run and how one CEO went to visit Man United and sort of laughed at the club. And we just got an abundance of stories. Amrabat exit. Kai Rooney scored a hat-trick today and got 2 assists in a 6-4 win versus Everton. He's doing amazing in the academy as well. And many other things to talk about: Branthwaite, Amrabat, Bruno Fernandes, and more. So please do hit that like button, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. We got everybody in the chat. We've had some internet issues today, so hopefully it sorts itself out. And I do apologise if the quality drops at some point as well. I've changed my internet about 4 times. Just hates me. It just hates me. That's all it is. It just does not want to work, and wow, it is slow. Oh no, this is slow. I'm trying to open up another tab on my screen and it is slow. So yeah, hopefully not too slow. Now let's dive into the news. Let's dive into the stories. People, when are the CEO and Director of Football starting? Omar Barada starts in June. Dan Ashworth, they want to start in June, but it could be September. But Newcastle United want to hurry that deal along. So diving into the first story, Mason Mount set to be included in Manchester United squad for tomorrow's FA Cup quarter final tie. So big news, big update on Mason Mount set to return. Rasmus Højlund-Maguire is also returning, and of course Wan-Bissaka. So basically we've got everyone back, bar Lisandro Martinez, who's going to go on international duty and finish his rehab, and then tie around missing Malacia and Luke Shaw. Bar the left-back situation, we've basically got everybody back, and we'll have everyone back after international break. Mason Mount's been out a while, so I don't expect him to start or really get too many minutes. Martinez obviously won't be involved, but he will hopefully be involved by the Brentford or Sheffield United. We're playing on the 30th, so big updates coming in there that basically nearly everyone is fit bar the left back situation, but Malacia is often hiding with Kate Middleton still. No one really knows where Malacia is, but apparently he's just not coming back at all this season. 36 likes, people, so please do continue to hit the like button, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. Can't wait to see Mount back. Really hope he gets some minutes. I hope that Mason Mount gets some minutes coming in as well. I do think he's a very good player. Sesko or Xerxes more a deal, need more quality. Rasmus has to be rested at times, and I agree. I don't want to spend more than 40. I don't really want to spend more than 30 million on a striker, but campus for 40 if it's a really good striker. Because obviously we've got Rasmus's first choice. We've got other positions to address, but I do agree with that in terms of the striker situation. I'm not a big fan of the striker that Man United might be pursuing. Delo left back, Wan-Bissaka right back, and that seems to be what's going to happen. So I want to dive into this story before I dive into the transfer news, before I dive into Manchester United, let's just line up versus Liverpool, because I thought that this story was particularly interesting. And this came from a very reliable Dutch source. Good links to Ajax, and they said that Ajax CEO Alex Cruz travelled to Manchester last year for a look behind the scenes at Man United. I mean, why would you want to look behind the scenes at Man United? What are you going to learn? But it said in preparation for work I'll do at Ajax. So he thought, I'm going to get a job at Ajax, so why don't I go and look at what Man United are doing, the worst run club in the world, just to prepare me for my job at Ajax. Anyway, continuing on. It was said Cruz was not impressed by Man United. He saw flawlessly at one club in how particular things should not be done, with it claimed that United are currently a dated version of Ajax. So he went and looked around the CEO jobs of other clubs and basically saw, okay, one club runs the club well. He looks at United and thinks, this is Ajax 20 years ago. This is just a dated version of Ajax. What are they doing here? What are they doing there? What's Murta doing? What's Arnold doing? Oh my days. I mean, Man United, the facilities haven't been changed since 2005. The stadium's not been upgraded. Nothing's been improved since the Glazers are here. We're stuck in 2005. I wouldn't be surprised if the Glazers are watching TV on like analog or something. We are stuck in 2005, and it's quite funny that when other people visit United and see the ins and outs of Man United, they're shocked with how bad we're run. But when you look at the money we've spent, when you look at the recruitment, when you look at the way the club operates, let's go and bring Oli Cavani and give him the number 7 shirt because we've spent all summer trying to get Sancho, Grealish, and Bellingham, and we didn't get one of them. Let's sign Donny van de Beek, even though Oli says he doesn't want Donny van de Beek. Like, is anyone surprised? Is anyone really surprised that we run badly? Like, let's be honest as well. Why was Mount brought for? He was brought as an upgrade on Eriksen in terms of legs, someone to play with Bruno in the midfield. Personally, I would have gone for more of an actual 8 than a 10/8 to play with Bruno, but he was sim for tactical reasons and off-the-ball reasons for Ten Hag's press. And I do think Mount can be a good sign for United as well. Declan says, I'm surprised we're still standing. There's so much wrong at Manchester United. Just take 35 million for Sancho and I'm happy. I'd take 25 million at this rate because he ain't going to play again as well. When Mount comes back, he'll want to score many goals and help the team. And I really hope Mount will not be sharp. Mount will need a few games to warm up, and he needs Ten Hag to give him a bit of a chance and not play Eriksen or Tomlin over him. He'll need a few games to warm up, but hopefully he can get a goal and get back in, because Mount's barely played football for a year when you think of all his injury issues. So he's going to need some time to warm up. But there's no doubt in my mind that Mount's a good player. The question is, one, can Mount play with Bruno Fernandes? That's the big question. And 2, how good is he going to be and how sharp is he going to be? There's no doubt it's a good player amount, but I don't think he was what United needed. The neglect has been on every level. Unfortunately, nothing we can highlight. We've done well. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I think we've done well was maybe the academy in terms of development and recruitment there, but everything else in terms of the first team has been completely neglected. Even the women's team has been completely neglected. Contracts, staff, players, facilities, everything as well. Mount's a slow burner, but will prove to be a good signing. And hopefully you're correct, and I do believe that as well. And Mount does have really good potential, and hopefully we'll see that at United as well. We've got to play more attacking tomorrow because it's a knockout game. We can definitely beat Liverpool tomorrow. Do you know what? I think we park the bus, we hit them on the break, and we can maybe beat them. I'm not confident, but if we're good in both boxes, we can win. If we're good in both boxes, we can win. That's how I describe the game. If we can actually score, if we can actually get out our own half and score, that will help. Now, I want to quickly dive through some transfer news. Just get through it quickly before I get into my next story, just so you guys are up to date on everything that's come in this morning. It was said that Manchester United ranked Everton defender Jared Branthwaite as their top centre-back target this summer. United are also monitoring Jean-Claude Todibo and Juventus Bremer. I don't know enough about Bremer. I'm not totally convinced on Bremer because I don't know enough about him, but I don't think he's a bad player. And I think value for money-wise, Bremer could be good. But if I was Man United, I'd be going for both Branthwaite and Todibo, because I think you've got to think that ideally, Lindelof and Maguire leave and replace them with Branthwaite and Todibo. And then we keep around for experience, and Martinez doesn't get injured, and then we have 4 banging centre-backs. But the reason I want United to go for Branthwaite and Todibo is because of this. And let me get this up on the screen here. And a lot of people might not realise this, but I think you can see that here. Man United need 2 centre-backs this summer, especially if Brown leaves as reporting. And realistically, Branthwaite and Todibo are the 2 best options. Branthwaite is an elite box defender, adapt to winning duels, and is 2-footed. So he can play left centre-back, right centre-back, offer cover for Martinez because he's left-footed, but he's good with both feet, so we could play on the right with Martinez. Paired with Todibo, who excels as a wide channel defender and is proficient in defending large spaces, would also be strong in possession. All these traits would massively boost our defence. And what I mean by that is you look at Van Dijk and you look at Konate. What a pairing. Konate is great at defending the wide channel, great at defending wide spaces because he's so athletically good and he's very, very good on the ball. And Van Dijk is that. And he's also good in the box. But Van Dijk's also sort of an elite box defender as well. What you need is one defender that is physical box defender that's going to win the duels. And then you need another defender that's going to be able to cover large ground. You know, you've got one defender that's great at winning the duels, being the hard man, winning everything in the box, and then the other defender is covering so much ground, is defending the wide areas, stopping the transitions, good at playing out from the back. And obviously both players look decent in possession. Todibo is very, very good in possession, and stats prove that. Branthwaite doesn't play for a possession-based side, but I do believe he's got good qualities in possession, and that could be something Manchester United need looking forward. For me, you know, Todibo could even do a shift at right back. He's got that sort of flexibility. 1v1. You've got Todibo for 1v1 in terms of ground duels, in terms of transitions, and then you've got Branthwaite for aerial duels as well. But the fee has to be right for Branthwaite. Can't be spending over 100 million on 2 centre-backs. If we could get both for 100 million, I think that would be ideal. You could sell Lindelof for 20 million, see if we can get 30 million from Maguire. That's 50 million of centre-backs out, and then buy those 2 for 100 million, which is a 50 million net spend. For me, that would be the ideal progress for Man United this summer. And then I would go for a Matt Sweefer in midfield. Then I would go for an Elise or Nico Williams. Then I would go for someone like a Tell, a Xerxes, a Sesko at striker. And then I would also try and look for a technical midfielder because I want McTominay, Eriksen, Amrabat and Casemiro gone. Well, I'm not too bothered about Casemiro, but I think if Saudi money's there, I would cash in on the Saudi money for Casemiro because he's not going to get any better. 59 likes, people, so please do continue to hit the like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Alice Stephanie deserves a mod. She does. I will mod you at some point. I need to get around to that. I can't do it in this chat. I have to get up on elsewhere as well. We should try to play football against. We should not try to play football against Liverpool because we don't have to counter. I mean, we need to find a way to score a goal, but we probably need to just play. You know, they scored 4 goals in 14 minutes with their B team versus Sparta Prague. We probably will have to play a little bit more defensive as well. De Ligt and Branthwaite will be the new Rio and Vida. I'm not the biggest fan of De Ligt, Matthijs De Ligt, believe it or not. Like, I think he's a good player, but he's not. It wouldn't be in my top 10 centre-back signings, to be honest with you. Like, I think he's decent in that. I wanted to do a video, actually, something different, and I might do this today or tomorrow, but I was going to do a video on the 10 players that Ollie wanted Man United to sign that he didn't get. So it would be like De Ligt, Caicedo. Ollie, in his interview, admitted he wanted Rice and Kane and speak about where they're at now and who we missed out on and do a deep dive into what Ollie wanted and what Ollie got and where the players Ollie wanted are now. I think that could be an interesting video, so do subscribe for that because that is some content I do plan to get out. Continuing on, it was said that Juventus are interested in signing Amrabat. The midfielder is expected to return to Fiorentina this summer as Man United seem unwilling to turn his loan into a permanent transfer. Not surprised. I'm really disappointed with the Amrabat transfer. I thought it'd be a really good transfer. I thought he was what we needed, particularly in possession, and I actually think we've not used him as much as we should have. I think he's a better player than Ten Hag thinks. He's come to United, he arrived injured, then he got played out of position, then he got asked to do a role that Casemiro couldn't do and McTominay couldn't do, but when Casemiro and McTominay failed at that role, they didn't get dropped. When Amrabat failed at the role, he got dropped because he's not been here as long and he's not as trusted. I don't think that Amrabat's been good enough, but I also do think that Amrabat's been treated a little bit unfairly. And I think there was more to offer from Amrabat, and I would have liked to have seen an Amrabat, Maino, Bruno midfield free, Maino being the deeper player, and just see how it does. But clearly, that's not what Ten Hag wants to do, which is an absolute shame as well. People say clear the lazy divas out of United. Absolutely. Anyone lazy, anybody not trying needs to go as well. It's not Amrabat's fault, the crap state we're in exactly. I do have a little bit of sympathy for Amrabat. It's not his fault that we're pretty crap at the moment as well. Continuing into the next story, we've got some leaks coming out. You know, leaks, boring old leaks, Man United and leaks. But the leaks were coming out saying that Man United players are increasingly doubtful Erik ten Hag will keep his job this summer if he fails to make the Champions League or win the FA Cup. I don't know, because I think this is a bit of rubbish from Chris Wheeler, in my opinion, because what we've heard from good sources is that it's not results-based. I mean, I think it will be semi-results-based, but I think Ineos will be thinking about process, the way they want to play, looking at the wider factors. I don't think it's necessarily about results-based. I think it's more like, how are we playing? Can we improve? Has Ten Hag shown enough? I think it will be an analysis and everything. I don't necessarily think how he ends the season determines too much. I think Ineos have probably already sort of made their mind up, and they obviously understand sort of the external circumstances, the problems with the board, the problems with the ownership, the problems with the environment that Ten Hag works in, the problems with injuries. I personally think a decision's been made, and I think that people and journalists, you know, there's not much to talk about Man United in terms of negativity at the moment, and they need to write something negative to, you know, bish bash bosh. Oh, what? Oh, no, this isn't good for Man. It's good for Liverpool, not for Man United. So I just seen this report by David Ornstein's just dropped an exclusive here. David Ornstein's just dropped an exclusive here. Let me get this up here. This is a good move for Liverpool. I don't like this. Exclusive, Liverpool owners FSG working on a move for Benfica director Pedro Marquez as part of a new setup would be employed by FSG rather than Liverpool and focus on second club operation. Former Man City plus highly regarded. This guy, and I'm not going to act like I know everything about him, but this would be a really good appointment for Liverpool in terms of technical director. This is someone I'd like at Man United. That is worrying. Liverpool have got Michael Edwards back. They're getting, you know, Pedro Marquez. I mean, Klopp's leaving, but Liverpool are making some smart moves. I don't like that at all. But we're just going a bit off topic there as well. Liverpool making some really, really clever moves there, which is worrying, because I was just hoping that when Klopp left, they'd fall apart. But that doesn't look like what they're going to do as well. It was said that Liverpool and FSG are working on this move as well. Updates on Mason Mount being included, and updates on Man United. Updates on Dan Ashworth, just Man United working on a deal and trying to do what they can. But Newcastle being difficult there. That's frustrating that Liverpool have got a good deal done. Big up everybody in the chat as well. Ten Hag with structure needs to be given a chance. I agree as well. That's all Michael Edwards' fault. We tried to get Michael Edwards, but the reason he didn't want to come to United is because Paul Mitchell has the highest role and he'd be working under Paul Mitchell, whereas at Liverpool, Michael Edwards would have the highest role, which is why he's gone to Liverpool as well. Player power again, just before Liverpool game. Great stuff. Players are idiots. I mean, look, some of our players are absolute idiots, aren't they? These leaks are silly, but I'm at the point where I do think that I don't even know if this is like player power or anything like that. I don't even know if the players are leaking this to Chris Wheeler or Chris Wheeler's making stuff up. I assume he's not going to be making stuff up, Chris Wheeler, because he's actually quite a good journalist. But it's I don't like these reports. All Man United players think this, Man United players think that. Just name and shame the players, because I guarantee it's about 2 players in the whole dressing room that are probably causing problems. Because I actually do think the majority of players want Ten Hag to stay. I wasn't sold on Amrabat before we brought him. He was quality at the World Cup, but looked more suited to abroad leagues. And I 100% get what you're saying there as well. Disagree. Ten Hag has to go along with Deadwood, says Ismail. Yeah, continuing on. Striker situation. Manchester United are interested in Dinamo Zagreb striker Bruno Petrovic. United have been scouting him recently. There's been no official contact yet between clubs. Dinamo would demand a fee of 5 to 10 million. So this is the striker that United are looking at. Bruno Petrovic. He'd probably be about 5 million quid. It was said that we were scouting him at a Dinamo Zagreb game versus PAOK as well a few days ago. Look, I don't want this guy at Man United. I don't think that he's a great striker, and I think that we could do better. But I do understand that for me, we've got Rasmus. He's brilliant. Martial's leading. We need someone that can fill in when Rasmus can't play. It might have to be someone with a little bit of experience that can score goals to do the job. I'm not going to cry if we sign this guy, as long as we have a good chance to win elsewhere. If we sign Branthwaite, Todibo, at least saying get 2 good midfielders in and a good young left back in, and then we sign this guy, I'm not going to cry. But if we don't have a good chance to the window and we sign this guy when we could have Xerxes and we've got the funds for someone like Xerxes or Sesko, then I would be annoyed. He's not my first choice striker, but I think realistically there's probably something in this. We're looking at this guy. I think United are looking at 29-year-old cheap players that can score goals. So if Højlund is injured, we can throw them in as a striker. But we did that with Weghorst, and Weghorst was crap. So the question is a risk? I wouldn't do it personally, but I get if we want to save the budget for elsewhere, I get why they might do it. Looking at him, 16 goals and 7 assists in 31 games, the equivalent of 2,500 minutes. So almost averages a goal contribution per game, averages a goal contribution every 104 minutes. So that's nearly 1 per game, but that obviously is in a different league. And he obviously probably has more service in those leagues. He has got 7 goals in 7 games in the Conference League as well. And he got 2 assists in the Champions League qualifying and 2 assists in Europa League qualifying. Last season, he played in the Champions League and got 1 goal and 2 assists. And then also got in the Champions League qualifiers, got 3 goals. He's got 10 goals in the league last season. He can get goals. Nothing crazy. I mean, he could do a job, but personally isn't the striker signing I'd be wanting Manchester United to make as well. You need another quality 9 option. Aging striker from Leicester League is a joke, and I agree. If we have a good chance to win it elsewhere, I'm not going to cry over it because we don't have much money. But I do think there's going to be better fish in the sea, and I do think that this would be a little bit silly for me. Xerxes, Elise, Weaver, Todibo, Branthwaite, young left back, technical box to box midfielder. If the funds was there, I'd go for Jao Neves. Is what I'd like to see as well. So it feels like a lone player, almost does, doesn't it? It feels like a lone player. He knocked Brazil out of the World Cup, I guess. I guess you can look at it like that as well. It looks like a really good signing for a sub-striker. Hopefully it's just more paper talk. Hopefully more paper talk, because I think with Manchester United, we need to be doing better than that as well. Girassi could be a better backup under 20 million. Yeah, but I think they're just looking at him for price-wise. I don't think that we'd go for him, but it is a random player to be linked to, and you think surely that there's something in this, because why would they link him to us? And this is agent talk. Continuing on the outs, now this has come from Neil Custis of The Sun, who is probably one of the worst sources of information out there. He told us Qatar was done twice. He makes up loads of stories about Mason Greenwood. He makes up loads of stories about Ten Hag. He's a Jadon Sancho, bumlicker, hates Marcus Rashford. But he was saying that basically Borussia Dortmund are ready to offer 35 million to sign Jadon Sancho on a permanent transfer, and Sancho's refusing to return to Man United unless Ten Hag is sacked. Neil Custis is a bit of a shit stirrer when it comes to the media, likes to report things that is going to cause drama and fan outrage, saying that Sancho's refusing to return. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was somewhat true. Sancho's not going to come back to United if Ten Hag's there. Sancho's not going to apologise to Ten Hag, and Ten Hag is stubborn. He's not going to make up with Sancho. If Ten Hag is here, Sancho is finished at United. if Ten Hag isn't here, I want Sancho sold anyway, because I don't want to have the attitude of a player that didn't want to play under the last manager playing under the next manager. I don't want to play with Sancho's attitude here anyway. It looks like Sancho wants to return to Dortmund. Sancho will lower his wages to return to Dortmund, but Borussia Dortmund are no mugs when it comes to the transfer window. Borussia Dortmund know the worth. They know that Man United are idiots, and Borussia Dortmund will be trying to get Sancho on loan. And now I think we'll probably end up doing something for about 25 million with Borussia Dortmund and settling on the cheap. But if we can get 35 million for Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund, that would be absolutely ideal. Just don't see it happening. What's the stream quality like, guys? Has it dropped a bit? Has he lagged a bit? I know the stream quality's been a bit iffy at the moment as well, so I do apologise as well. If Hoyland picks up Knox, given how hard he plays, you need proper rotation, which is true in terms of the striker situation as well. 90 likes, big up everybody in the chat as well. Best to get rid of Sancho. Guardiola didn't rate him and didn't want him. We don't need his attitude. I agree. Even if Ten Hag goes, I want Sancho gone. He refused to play for this manager for 4 months. He's not been good enough in his 3 seasons at United. Even if Ten Hag goes, for me, I do want Jadon Sancho gone. People saying stream fine. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Continuing on into the next story, into some transfer news sort of spread by Italian media. And I put Italian media in brackets because I think with Italian media, you do have to take a lot of what they say with a pinch of salt. But they've been saying that Manchester United sent their scouts to Atalanta versus Bologna game, and they were particularly watching the Atalanta duo, Tuan Cooper Miners and Giorgio Scavani in particular. I'm not that convinced or bothered about both players, if I was going to be honest with you. I think that, Cooper Miners could be, decent. I'm not convinced really on Scavani, if I'm going to be totally honest on you. But again, I've only watched a couple of times, them play a couple of times. So what do I know when you think about it as well? But look, for me, I actually think if we were going to the Bologna game, we should have been looking at the John Lucimi, whatever he's called. Apparently, he's been really, really good this season rather than the Atalanta players. But look, of course, it is Italian media, so you know what Italian media is like as well. Lissandro Martinez and Mason Mount will be back fully fit after the international break, which will be really important to United because obviously we need Lissandro Martinez to step out of the defence into the midfield. We need obviously the pressing ability of Mason Mount in midfield, and we need those legs as well. So I do think that seeing Mason Mount and Martinez back after the international break, we should see a lot better performances from United, or at least I expect to see a lot better performances from United. And if we don't, then that's where you get that little bit of concern over Ten Hag as well. Big up everybody in the chat. Please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Share the video as well. What is people saying? Sorry, just saw something. I was just ignoring that there. 100 likes, people. Big up everybody. I take Bremo over Scavani's quick battle of beast like centre back. I agree. End the Sancho saga with due diligence. Should have done on signing him in the first. Shouldn't have done on signing him in the first place. I think just end the Sancho situation. Get the saga done. Get 30 odd million for Sancho. Bish bash bosh. I'll take it. I think we could have got about 50 million for Sancho this summer had we sold him. And apparently Ten Hag was open to selling Sancho this summer, as he doesn't seem as a wide player in the system because he doesn't have that pace, and he saw Sancho as more of a central player, but believed that Sancho didn't have the work rate to be a central player in the system consistently. Now, talking about a player we could have signed in the summer that we didn't sign in the summer that we might be able to sign next summer, Kim Min-jae has been benched for Eric Bloody Dyer. What is going on at Bayern Munich? Kim Min-jae has stayed fit. He would have been able to play every game at Man United this season. He's a banging centre-back. And Kim Min-jae is on the bench, and he said he's not experienced being on the bench. He's played so many games, and there's so many good players at Bayern, so it can happen, and he's not playing. Kim Min-jae is not playing at Bayern. He has been benched. He's not wanted. Get Kim Min-jae to Old Trafford on the cheap. How are you playing? How are you playing Eric Dyer over Kim Min-jae? How are you playing Eric Dyer over Kim Min-jae? I don't know. In terms of financial news, in terms of the financial situation at United, it was said that Manchester United will be hit with a 10 million penalty every time they fail to qualify for the Champions League under the new terms of the Adidas kit deal. So that hopefully should give Manchester United more motivation to spend a bit more and achieve Champions League success. Is another story coming out. Another story coming out is that lots of players have been praising Bruno Fernandes, saying he's sharp, saying he's a great guy to work with, saying he's a great guy to play with. There's a lot of people that don't like Bruno Fernandes. There's a lot of character assassination on Bruno Fernandes, but every professional that's met Bruno Fernandes speaks about him so highly. I'm really happy with the UCL draw. As a neutral, loads of good ties. Man City, Real Madrid, Arsenal, Bayern. You've got Dortmund, Atleti, and then it is who is the other one? Barcelona, PSG. So yeah, some really, really good draws, all for the neutral. I'll probably watch all of those games because I thought most of the games in the round of 16 were really boring. In fact, I think all the draws in the round of 16 were boring, bar the sort of maybe Inter Athletic could have been interesting as well. But I thought there was some boring draws. But this, I think, is going to be so interesting. So I'm really happy with the Champions League draw as a neutral. Hopefully, City and Arsenal can get knocked out. That would be ideal for me as well. Who are the 10 best wonder kids in football right now, Alice? Interesting question. Kobbie Mainoo, Garnacho, and I'm just playing about as well. People. Oh, that's interesting there. That's interesting there. So I just saw some interesting reports, but not to do with Manchester United as well. Yeah. Varane, Leacher, Kim Min-jae, Bish Bash Bosh. Imagine Varane, Leacher, Kim Min-jae would have been some nice duo as well. Hopefully Real kick out Man City. Man City 117 at this rate. Because I tell you what, they've got away with a lot. I do think, and I don't like to be one of those people that say that, but I do think the refereeing decisions that Manchester City get, man. Ibrahimov gets a lovely assist as Musa taps it in, and Man United have gone from 2-0 down to now winning 3-2 in their academy game as well. Man United Academy looking good. Mason Mount's season starts now. Really happy to see Mason Mount back. And let's talk about Manchester United versus Liverpool. I want to get the lineup up for tomorrow's game. I want your thoughts on Manchester United's lineup ahead of tomorrow's game. So my screen should be shared with you now. Let's get the lineup up. Let's get the information up here. De Ligt, De Jong, and Branthwaite. Yeah, I like those guys, but I think Branthwaite's the only realistic one. Anyway, so Højlund is back for the Liverpool game, which is a massive boost. Rashford will be playing on the left wing. He's going to obviously be going strong. And Garnacho will be playing on the right wing ahead of tomorrow's game. Bruno Fernandes will play. Kobbie Mainoo was rested and expected to play. And I would like to see Amrabat. I think he's going to play Casemiro, but I'd like to see this. I'd like to see Kobbie Mainoo really, really deep with Amrabat, with Bruno ahead. That's what I want to see. Dalot, I assume, will be going left back unless Wan-Bissaka's not particularly fit. Wan-Bissaka going in at right back. Bayendier is injured, so Andre Onana is set to go on goal. I think that it will be Varane, right centre-back. And I know Maguire's back, but I think he might stick with Evans at left centre-back. I think we might see that. To be honest, even though Maguire's back. That's what I want to see. That would be my lineup ahead of the game, if I was going to be honest with you as well. Big Boost, not sure he'll play 40 minutes. Just glad he's back. Yeah, Mason Mount won't start, but he'll definitely be back on the bench as well. People who criticise Bruno don't know what they're talking about. He's the only player that has played every match since joining the club, so having a bad game now and then should be understood. I agree. I understand criticising Bruno's performances. He's not been good enough elements of this season. He's had a few bad performances, but as a player, Bruno is a top player and probably one of arguably the best player on our team. He's just not been great this season, and I think we can criticise his performances, but I don't get people that want Bruno sold before selling McTominay. They would sell Bruno before they'd sell McTominay. That's when it makes no sense as well. I love Mainoo, but that's not too much to ask from versus Liverpool. He was great at the Anfield game, wasn't he? He's been great in all the big games, Kobbie Mainoo, and in our poor system as well. Alex makes a good point. Marcus Leonardo was a big miss. Almost scored a goal again for Benfica would be a different option. Yeah, I really wish we went for Marcus Leonardo in January. I think that was a massive miss from United to not go for Marcus Leonardo in January. Casemiro isn't injured. I just sort of put Amrabat in there ahead of Casemiro. I think that he did quite well when we played Liverpool last time out, and I think Amrabat can just cover a little bit more ground, is a little bit more secure in possession, and you don't want to be giving the ball away versus Liverpool. Liverpool transition tied. You give the ball away versus Liverpool, they hit you quick. Casemiro gives the ball away a lot more than Amrabat, so I would play Amrabat and Mainoo deep together. I think it worked really well versus Liverpool last time out, and then this time you've got Bruno to play instead of McTominay. That's personally what I would do as well. Bruno carried United through the Solskjaer regime, and I said this, and I got a lot of stick for this. And the reason I am not one of those fans, because I know I understand, particularly with Rashford, a lot of frustration. Belfast, he's been particularly bad this season, but I see a lot of fans go, Rashford and Bruno need to be the first two players sold. Rashford and Bruno need to be first players sold. And I don't get that. For me, you look at the last 5 seasons, 3 of the last 5 seasons, Rashford and Bruno have been 2 of our best players, 3 of the last 5 seasons. Has Lindelof been anywhere near one of our best players the last 5 seasons? No. Has Maguire been anywhere near our best player one of the last 5 seasons? No. It one good season. In the last 5 seasons, Wan-Bissaka's had one good season. So Wan-Bissaka's had one good season. Maguire's had one good season. Lindelof's had 2 okay seasons. Donny van de Beek's not had a good season in 5 years. Martial's not had a good season in 5 years. Jadon Sancho's not had a good 3 years. Anthony's not had a good 2 years here. You know, you look at just the club in general. Why are we selling players that have been in the last 5 years, 3 out of the last 5 seasons, been our best players, when some players still here have been crap all 5 seasons? So that's the way I look at it. Like, I don't think their Rashford's been good enough this season. I think Bruno's been disappointing this season, but I wouldn't sell them because we know that they can be good. We don't know how good Lindelof can be. Probably not great. You know, if you sell Bruno, who are you going to replace him with? Because we ain't getting Wirtz, we ain't getting Musiala. Who? Oh, we're playing better football with Mason Mount. Mason Mount can't stay fit. McTominay can't play as a 10. Sancho doesn't want to be as a 10. So that's the way I look at it. I know a lot of people want them gone. Bruno's first 18 months was unbelievable. This season's been a bit rash and wasteful, yeah. I think Bruno's had some good moments this season. I thought he was quite good the other week, but yeah, he's been a bit poorer lately, hasn't he, as well? I think he just exhausted and poor managed as well. United defend well at Anfield and 0-0 draw, got to be tight and pass the ball better, I agree. Big up everybody in the chat as well. Johnny Evans has been having a very good season, hasn't he, as well? Salah back for Liverpool, should be worried. Yeah, Salah back, got a hat-trick of assists in the Sparta Prague game. Liverpool have got a few key players back from injury. Liverpool are just destroying teams. Liverpool, even though they only got 1 goal, absolutely destroyed Manchester City. And the biggest positive is there's no Jota, because he's super clinical for Liverpool. Jota, super clinical. Bendito Montano gets a hat trick. What performance from him! I tell you what, the Man United academy, man, is so good. Honestly, if you ever get bored of Man United first team, watch the under-18s. They play such good football, such good technical football. I think they could beat our first team at this rate. I really would. They're so talented. And I think Dan Ashworth coming in, Jason Wilcox coming in with their experience in youth football and academy football, you know, them working with the under-18s as well could be a massive boost. But listen, people, I'm going to wrap up today's live stream here. Just a little short live stream to get you all guys involved as well. Bruno's time under Ollie forced him to become even more of a Hollywood passer, given how negative the system was. 100%. People don't like Bruno because of the football he plays. He was asked to play that way. That's what he's been asked to do. And he's got set up a lot of things as well. Alice, don't look at Salah's record against us. No, he loves to score against us as well. Not looking forward to the Liverpool game as well. But listen, people, I should be back with a video late tonight. It all depends on the news, all depends on the info coming out. But just want to thank everyone for watching today's video. Please do the like button if you haven't already. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. See you next time. Bye.